Welcome in today's class. I hope you all are doing good. So let's crack NEET PG together. The topic of today is free radicals. They are also called as oxidants or oxidants. So this is what we are going to study in today's class. But before beginning with today's topic, let us have a short introduction about Unacademy. Unacademy is one of the India's largest platform for the preparation of NEET PG examination. And you will get one of the best educators all over India on this platform. These are some of the pictures of the best educators all over India who are teaching at an academy, and students are getting benefited out of their guidance. Then there are special classes, and in these special classes you can ask your doubt directly with your faculty member while the class is going on. So these are some of the faculty members who take the live classes, and they are at your service all the time, helping you out regarding your queries, your questions, and any doubts. Then there are test series, free mock tests, weekly tests. So for qualifying any kind of examination, what is most importantly needed is that you should understand the pattern of the examination, the PYQs, and everything regarding that. So that is also possible with the help of Unacademy, because you can very well go through the test series and free mock tests, weekly tests, and evaluate yourself. Then this is one of the easiest way for the preparation of the examination, because it is a flexible way. You can be anywhere, anytime you can prepare for the examination. It is very flexible. You don't have to be personally present at the place where the class is going on. Then the language can be of your own choice. There are many faculty members who even teach in the regional languages, so the language can be of your choice. And then unlimited practice of the quizzes and tests and the watch and the recorded sessions. You can go through them as many number of times as you want to. So there is unlimited practice sessions, right? Then you won't feel anything different from a normal classroom. You can chat with your educator. Then there are interactive polls. Then you can learn anytime, anywhere. uh, as I told you, if you are not in the town, you are on holidays, you can just switch on the channel and you will be into the world of your preparation. And interactive poll is a very interesting feature that the faculty member, they'll give you some of the option, and from those options you will have to select one, and then there will be a whole poll thing, like you will come to know how many students they have attempted the same option like yours, and how many people they are having doubt in in certain options, and each and every option will be elaborated and discussed in detail. So Unacademy is serving beautifully for the preparation of various competitive examinations. Then there is a plus platform, and what's so special about this plus platform is that you can just go over there and you can get all the videos on all the 19 subjects and all the short term courses and crash courses for all the upcoming examinations. So it was a very normal coaching like feeling, that you will be always into rush of attending various classes, and you will always be motivated towards studying more and more, right? Then there are certain charges for this plus subscription, and the charge is quite nominal, pocket friendly. And if you're going for a 12 monthly or 24 monthly, then it is more pocket friendly. It's very very reasonable. And if you're going for a 12 monthly and 24 monthly, it means that yes, you have done a right decision, because 12 monthly and 24 monthly can be very much helpful, as you will have a lot of time to go through the videos and understand the concept building can be very easily achieved in this duration. And if you're going for a short term also, then also good, but what I would personally suggest is go for a 12 month or a 24 monthly subscription. Or if you want to try for a month and then just switch to 12 monthly and 24 monthly. And in that also you can get an additional discount by using my referral code, that is FB01. So do not forget my referral code, that is FB01. So coming to the class, we are going to talk about free radicals. Free radicals. These free radicals are also called as oxidants, right? They are also called as oxidants. So before actually beginning with the definition and details, let us see what are the points under which we are going to talk about it. We'll be talking about its definition. We'll be talking about the names given for these free radicals. Then we'll be talking about sources from where these free radicals are derived. And then we will be talking about the diseases which are associated or which are because of the free radicals, right? So these are the points around which our whole class will rotate. Now coming to the first point, that is what is the definition. So how will we define these free radicals? So what are free radicals? Free radicals are those molecules and fragments which contain one or more unpaired electron. So how are we actually going to write it? Molecules or molecular fragments which contain one or more, one or more what? Unpaired electron. This is its definition. Then it will be falling under the category of free radicals. And what about this unpaired electron? So what is so great about this unpaired electron? Unpaired electron. What is so great about this? Because of this unpaired electron, they are highly reactive. What is so special? Because of the unpaired electron, they are reactive, highly reactive. And it causes the generation of new radicals which have got ultra short span, right? And with high reactivity, with ultra short span, they are highly damaging to various tissues, damaging to various tissues, right? They are damaging to various tissues. Now we have understood the definition. Then we have understood that it is because of the unpaired electron, and this unpaired electron is highly reactive and it is having a very ultra short span and it is damaging to various tissue. Let us move towards the next point, that is what all things are included in these free radicals, which all things will be called as free radicals. So what does they include? It includes certain species, that is first one called as O2, and they are always denoted by this dot, right? This is this superscript dot, and this O2 is called as superoxide anion radical, called as superoxide anion radical. The second one is HOO negative, and it is also called as hydroxy peroxyl radical, right? Then the third species is OH, and it is called as hydroxy radical, right? So these all things are included. There are four more things. So the fourth one is nitric oxide, and it is actually NO reactive. The fifth one is peroxynitrite, peroxynitrite, and it is denoted by ONOO. Sixth one is hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide, and it is denoted by H2O2. Then next is denoted by singlet oxygen, and it is denoted by 1O2. Right? So these are the examples of the free radicals, and in many of the cases they are also called as ROS. What is this ROS? It means reactive oxygen species, right? ROS. So it's also called as reactive oxygen species. And one more thing I want to make clear over here is that hydrogen peroxide and singlet oxygen, these two are not exactly free radicals. These are not exactly free radicals, but they are highly reactive in nature. These two are not in the category of free radicals. They are not free radicals, but they are kept in this category because of their extreme reactivity. Because of their extreme reactivity, right? And nitric oxide and peroxynitride, they are also called as reactive nitrogen species. They are called as reactive nitrogen species. Here they are called as reactive oxygen species, and they are called as reactive nitrogen species. So what else about these free radicals? What are they? They contain an unpaired electron in the outermost orbit, and that is why they are so reactive and they are ready to pair easily. So these free radicals, they contain the unpaired electron in outermost orbit, and because of that it is highly reactive. That means it can pair with anyone, can pair easily. There the secret of reactivity lies in. Right? Let's move ahead. Now, when we are saying that they are oxygen species, so let us talk about reduction of oxygen. Reduction of oxygen. How does this reduction of oxygen will occur? This oxygen molecule will get converted into superoxide anion. This we have seen, superoxide anion, and the superoxide anion will get converted into hydrogen peroxide, will get converted into hydrogen peroxide. This hydrogen peroxide will get converted into a reactive hydroxyl radical. And finally, this hydroxyl radical will get converted into a water molecule. So this is how the reduction of oxygen occurs. This is the reduction of oxygen, right? So we have seen the definition, we have seen the names, and we have seen a process through which the oxygen is changed into water molecule, and these all intermediate steps are the reactive species. These are the free radicals which will be the cause of various damages in the body. So this is a natural process also, this reduction. Right, now coming to the next point which we need to discuss in today's class, that is source of generation. Source. of generation, right? So whether they are produced in body or whether they are produced or induced from the outer environment, so they can be endogenous, that is, they can be completely produced in the body or in result of the internal metabolic pathways, or it can be induced from the environmental factors. So in both of the cases it will be produced in the body or only. So endogenous, normal endogenous, and induced by environment, right? So source of generation we'll be seeing under these head, and mostly it is very common to be produced in body, that is this endogenous source is a very common one. So let us talk about this endogenous source in detail. Endogenous, so as the word itself is saying which are produced in body by metabolic reaction, right? Which are produced in body when because of the metabolic reactions, or can say normal oxidation of food stuff. So produced in metabolic reactions, and and when in metabolic reaction, that too particularly oxidation of food, right? Endogenous. Endogenous. Let us move ahead, that what are the actual components of these endogenous sources. We'll be talking about them individually. So the first one, when it is produced, whenever there will be a leakage of electron from the electron transport chain, it will result into the free radical. So and when this electron transport chain will occur during the oxidation of food. So first one is leakage of electron from electron transport chain, right, which contributes in formation of free radicals. Then the second place where it will be produced, that is nitric oxide synthase. Activity of nitric oxide synthase. So when arginine will be converted into nitric oxide in the presence of enzyme nitric oxide synthase, there will be production of reactive oxygen species. There will be production of reactive oxygen species, or free radical will be formed, right, by the action of nitric oxide synthase, right? So this is also a normal metabolic process. Now third is by NADPH oxidase, by NADPH oxidase. And another term which is used for the production of free radical by this process is called as respiratory burst. Respiratory burst. Right. Why is it called as respiratory burst? Let us understand this, that whenever there will be a kind of bacterial infection, or a bacteria will be getting engulfed, this bacteria will be getting engulfed by a kind of macrophage, what it will need? They will require oxygen. And because of this increased demand of oxygen for engulfing of the bacteria by macrophages, there will be conversion of O2 into superoxide anion. Superoxide oxide, anion because of high oxygen demand by the whole system. There will be superoxide anion generation because of the high demand of oxygen. So how does NADPH oxidase, it actually participates is like this. This O2 will be getting converted into superoxide. This is your superoxide anion, right? And the reaction which is catalyzed by is NADP oxidase. This is why NADP oxidase is linked with generation of free radical, and which will further lead into formation of hydrogen peroxide, and this hydrogen peroxide will further form hypochlorous acid, and which will actually kill bacteria, right? And this reactive oxygen species, in fact this also can directly kill bacteria, whether acid will kill or whether this reactive oxygen species will kill. And this reaction is coupled by conversion of NADP into NADP positive, right? This is the actual process of generation of a free radical whenever there will be a need of engulfment of a bacteria by a macrophage. There will be increased demand of oxygen, and because of this increased demand it is called as respiratory burst, and superoxide anion or acid will try to kill the bacteria, and this is how the bacteria will be killed. So this was the third source of generation of free radical. Let us move towards the generation of free radical in the fourth way, that is xanthine oxidase, by xanthine oxidase reaction. Now, when does this xanthine oxidase reaction will occur? Whenever there will be conversion, that is conversion of purine into the degradable form, or in the purine degradation, whenever there will be generation of uric acid or uric acid production during purine degradation, right? Uric acid production during purine degradation will lead into production of O2 species or oxygen reactive oxygen species, ROS. So this was the fourth way. Now coming to the fifth way, that is during prostaglandin synthesis. Prostaglandin synthesis, right? That is in platelets and in leukocytes during lipoxygenase pathway. In platelets and leukocytes during lipoxygenase pathway, right? So this was the fifth way through which the reactive oxygen or free radical is produced. Let us look into the next way how it is produced, through lipid peroxidation. Through lipid peroxidation. So what happens, that it is for the generation of reactive oxidation, it is for the generation of reactive oxygen species, and one of the important one. So how does this actually occur? It occurs in 3 steps. It's a 3-step process. Lipid peroxidation is a 3-step process, that is initiation, then elongation, and then termination. Right, so we will be talking about this. So first of all, let us see initiation. Initiation. So what will happen when polyunsaturated fatty acid, which is also called as RH, will react with hydroxyl ion, will lead into formation of a reactive carbon chain plus water molecule. Right. Now in elongation, what will happen? In elongation, this reactive species of carbon will further go on reacting with the oxygen, and it will lead into formation of ROO, which is called as lipid peroxide radical. Lipid peroxide radical. And this lipid peroxide radical can react with one more PUFA or reactive species or reactive chain of fatty acid, and it can lead into formation of an acid and one carbon chain. So initiation, elongation, this is how the reactive peroxide radical is forming, and this your reactive species. Now when initiation and elongation is done, so how the whole process will be actually stopped? How the whole process will stop? In termination, when the two reactive lipid peroxide radicals will further join with each other, they will lead into formation of an ester, and then the process will be stopped. So this ROOH is the promoter of lipid peroxidation. This ROOH. Where's the pen? This ROOH is the promoter of lipid peroxidation, and this doesn't get stopped till PUFA is exhausted. This will keep on forming till PUFA is not finished, right? So the next step is your termination. Termination. And as I told you, when two lipid peroxide radicals, they will react with each other, they will lead into formation of a ester and oxygen molecule, right? So this is how the 6th way of generation of free radical we have seen. Now we'll be seeing the 7th way how it is produced, and it is called as auto-oxidation of metals, right? So these are the endogenous sources. So let us have a look at some of the exogenous sources also. Exogenous sources. So what are the exogenous sources of formation of free radicals? So first one is alcohol. The second one is radiations. The third one is because of various kind of drugs. And lastly, one more environmental factor, that is smoking. So alcohol, radiation, drugs and smoking, right? So we have seen the source of generation. Now let us see some of the disorders which are related to free radicals, which are no less than a disaster. So disorders related to free radicals, right? So some of the disorders we'll be seeing. So the first one is acute inflammation. Acute inflammation, right? Now the second disorder is aging. Now what happens in aging? There are certain disorders which are related, that is Alzheimer's, then multiple sclerosis, then Parkinsonism is related with aging and which is actually linked with the free radicals. Third one is arthrosclerosis. So what will happen in this? There will be increased level of LDL and which will actually change into oxide LDL and which will attract the macrophages and which will convert into foam cells, and the foam cells will convert into arthromatous plaques. So arthrosclerosis. Fourth one is bronchoalveolar disease. Bronchoalveolar disease. Bronchoalveolar disease. It's a kind of adult respiratory disease syndrome, also called as ARDS, and it is related with free radicals, bronchoalveolar disease, then cancers, yes, cancers, then sixth, cataracts are also linked with free radicals. So retinal injury of prematurity, when free oxygen is given to premature infant, it causes 100% damage to the retina. So cataracts. Then seventh one is cardiovascular diseases. Cardiovascular diseases. So in case of reperfusion injury in myocardial ischemia. So reperfusion injury in MI. And lastly, there are many, but some I have included over here. So lastly, for the examples which we are seeing is diabetes mellitus. So the beta cells of islets of Langerhans of pancreas, they will be damaged and it will cause insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, right? Now we have seen almost everything. Now what is the thing which will actually cure these defects or disorders, or how to reduce these disorders? Is there anything? So the thing which actually reduces the effect of all these free radicals is antioxidants. Antioxidants. So before actually completing, let us have a little quick revision of all of the topics that we have seen till now, right? Or all of the things what we have seen till now. We'll just do a very quick revision of the of all the points that we have seen, right? So the free radicals, they are also called as oxidants. So how will we define it? Any chemical species with unpaired electron in their outermost orbit will be called as free radical or oxidants, right? Free radical or oxidants. So they are normally produced in our body through various mechanisms for various purposes. So the reason of the production of these free radicals is actually the oxidative stress. The reason is oxidative stress. oxidative stress. And because of this oxidative stress, it will affect the mitochondria and will have incomplete oxidation. Because of incomplete oxidation, it will lead into the formation of free radicals, right? So oxidative stress will lead into affecting the mitochondria and which will lead into incomplete oxidation, and because of that the free radicals are produced, right? Now whenever the mitochondria is under any kind of stress, will release the free radicals. Whenever it is under any kind of stress, it will release the free radicals, right? So we also need to know how does it damage or the mechanism of action of these free radicals. And one more thing that we should know is unpaired electrons. If there are unpaired electrons, it will lead into oxidation. That's why they are also called as oxidants, unpaired electrons. It will lead into oxidation, and whenever there will be a proton, it will lead into reduction. And here there is an extra electron, unpaired electron, so the process it will lead into is oxidation. And that is why the whole thing is also called as oxidative damage. It's called as oxidative damage. Right? Now, if you are saying that it is oxidative damage, so oxidative damage to who? What places in the cells? What all places will be actually damaged by this oxidative damage? So the places which will be damaged through oxidative damage in the body are, first of all, it will be cell membrane will be damaged through oxidative damage. Other places, cytoplasmic proteins will be damaged. The third place which will be damaged will be nuclear membrane. And after nuclear membrane, it will also damage DNA and which will cause mutation and which will indirectly result into cancer. Right? So, oxidative damage. Oxidative damage will lead into these all things: damage to the cell membrane, damage to the cytoplasmic proteins, damage to the nuclear membrane, and damage to the DNA, which will further lead into cancers. So the unpaired electrons, they are highly reactive, they have ultra short lifespan, and they are damaging to various tissues. Now there is a PYQ which is related to the various species of the free radicals, that is, which is the most important hypothesis of aging or formation of the, so which is the most important hypothesis of aging is because of the oxidants. The most important hypothesis of aging is because of the free radicals. The whole culprit of aging goes to the free radicals. Now if we are seeing a list of oxidants, so the very important PYQ which goes to the oxidant list of oxidants is that which is the most potent free radical in the human body. So again there is a PYQ which is the most potent amongst all. So the most potent is hydroxy radical. This one is the most potent free radical or oxidant. Hydroxyl radical is the most potent free radical in the human body, right? So these are some of the things which we have seen. Then uh, let us move further. These are also they are also called as reactive oxygen species, and hydrogen peroxide and singlet oxygen, they are not actually free radicals, but still they fall into the category of the various species of the free radical because of their extreme reactivity, right? Now, reduction of oxygen occurs this way. There's a whole chain. The oxygen molecule will get converted into superoxide anion. Superoxide anion will change into hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide will change into hydroxyl radical, and finally it will change into water. Then what are the sources of generation? That is endogenous and exogenous both. So endogenous, we have seen 7 of the examples. The first one is leakage from electron transport chain, then action of nitric oxide synthase, then NADPH oxidase, or the reaction of NADPH oxidase in killing of the bacteria through macrophages, then through xanthine oxidase, then in prostaglandin synthesis, then in lipid peroxidation, for which we have even seen the whole reaction, this lipid peroxidase or lipid peroxidation reaction. Then lastly, auto-oxidation of metals. And there are some of the exogenous sources as well. So these exogenous sources are alcohol, radiations, drugs, and smoking. Then we have seen some of the disorders related to free radicals. So those are acute inflammation, then aging, atherosclerosis, bronchoalveolar diseases, cancers, cataracts, in MI, and in insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. Right? Now, this is for your free radicals, what they are actually. Now, how to differentiate these free radicals? Is there any test for differentiating these free radicals? So, if this is the cell and this is the nucleus, the free radicals are formed on the outside of the nuclear membrane like this. These are the free radicals, and this is our cell membrane. And the brown pigment, these free radicals, they are the brown pigments, and they are also called as lipofusion, which are formed by the free radicals when they damage the cytoplasmic membrane, or in another words, this can also be changed into lipofusion pigment. Whenever these free radicals, they will damage the cytoplasmic membrane, they will enter inside and they will form lipofusion pigment, right? So this lipofusion pigment is like brown pigment. It's brown in color, the brown pigment, and it is distributed outside of the nucleus, right? And this lipofusion pigment is also called as telltale sign of free radical injury. Telltale sign of free radical injury, and it is also called as aging pigment. This we are talking about lipofusion pigment, which is actually brown in color. So it is also called as telltale sign of free radical injury, and it is also called as aging pigment, and it is also called as wear and tear pigment. It is also called as wear and tear pigment, right? So these lipofusion pigments, they will be seen or they will be observed in certain pathological conditions. So what are those pathological conditions in which these lipoproteins will be seen? So let us highlight those pathological conditions in which they will be actually seen. So they will be seen in cancer, cachexia. It will be seen in severe malnutrition, It will be also observed as aging pigment, right? So lipofuscin pigment will be formed in cancer cachexia and severe malnutrition. Now, whenever they will be colored or for making the histopathological slides, there are certain other pigments also which are present outside in the environment of the cell, outside the nucleus. So how would we differentiate them? So there are two pigments which needs to be differentiated, that is lipofuscin pigment and hemosiderin. Hemosiderin. So these two pigments, they both are brown in color actually. So how would they be differentiated? So the stain which will be used for lipofuscin will be lipid stains, and the lipid stains used for lipofuscin are oil, red O stain, and Sudan black B. And the stain used for hemosiderin is Pearl's stain. Pearl's stain, named after the scientist who gave this. And the another word for this is Persian blue stain, right? So when lipofuscin pigment will be stained with oil red O stain, it will appear red because it's there already in the name. And when it will be colored with Sudan black B, it will be appearing black. And for hemosiderin, when it will be stained with Pearl's stain, will appear Persian blue in color, right? So I think we have covered almost everything regarding our oxidants or free radicals. Let us move a little ahead towards antioxidants, because when we are talking about free radicals, let us have a look about free radicals also. Sorry, antioxidants also. We have talked about oxidants. Let us talk about little bit about antioxidants. So these antioxidants, they fall into three groups. The first one is vitamins. The second one is enzymes, and the third one is proteins. So vitamins, enzymes, and proteins. So the vitamins which actually fall in the category of antioxidants is A, C, and E, and the enzymes which fall in the category of antioxidants is catalase, glutathione peroxidase, and superoxide dismutase. Superoxide dismutase. These are the enzymes. And the proteins which are actually the antioxidants, so some of the carrier proteins, like for iron, it is for iron it is transferrin. Copper, it is ceruloplasmin, right? So these are the carrier proteins. So these are the kind of antioxidants in nature, okay? And the PYQs which can be asked in these are, for enzymes, if let's talk, then which one of these category are the peroxisomal enzymes? So catalase, glutathione peroxidase, or superoxide dismutase, or none of the above, or all of the above. So all of the enzymes, they fall into the category of peroxisomal enzymes. Peroxisomal enzymes. The enzymes which we read in the category of antioxidants, they are peroxisomal enzymes, and the proteins which are actually the antioxidants, they are transferrin and ceruloplasmin. So these are the antioxidants for our body, right? So this is it for the whole lecture on your oxidants and antioxidants. A little bit is left in antioxidants, that is a very little part that we'll be discussing in detail also in some other class. So that is it for your oxidants and free radicals. So if you like my video, please give me a like and subscribe our channel, that is Let's Crack NEET PG, and hit the bell icon for all the notifications. And lastly, don't forget to use my referral code for getting an additional 10% discount in the Plus subscription. So don't forget to use my referral code, and hope you like the video. So keep enjoying and have a very good day.